A very warm welcome to all our esteemed guests, respected faculty members, innovators, entrepreneurs, and fellow participants of the Entrepreneurship Summit 2025, proudly hosted by the Entrepreneurship Club at IMI Delhi.
The world of business is experiencing a profound transition. Success is being redefined by an emerging generation that blends ambition with autonomy, achievement with personal meaning, and profit with purpose. Their influence as employees, consumers, and cultural voices is fundamentally reshaping leadership itself.
Conventus' 2025 arrives at this pivotal moment, structured around the theme when the next generation guides the boardroom. This is not merely about the future workforce, it's about the present shift where decisions can no longer rest on yesterday's logic.
This generation demands authenticity, insists on well being at the core of productivity, and anchors authority not in titles but in the strength of resonance of ideas. They are pushing past conformity and bureaucracy to shape what works and leadership must become.
Conventus 2025 is not just a space to observe this change, but a forum to anticipate, embrace, and shape it. We recognize that enduring leadership belongs to those who can balance legacy with change, discipline with agility, and tradition with evolution. With this, let us watch the theme video of Conventus 2025.
India, the nation of young hearts, stands at a new dawn, brimming with a vibrant generation, restless yet rooted, bold yet balanced, not waiting for a seat at the table, but redefining the very room at large.
As boardrooms evolve and the sidelines become the stage, we find ourselves at a pivot between hierarchy and harmony blur, and wisdom finds its echo in youth.
Learnings from history, hope for the present, and dream for the future. They have it all.
A nation has come of age, and at Conventus 2025, we are writing its story. Here, courage is the currency and ideas are influence. So let's join hands to welcome the emerging dawn, to anticipate, shape, and embrace the change that will define our future.
My fellow speaker Idika and I Stavan will now take you through the Entrepreneurship Summit of Conventus 2025. This summit dives deeper into this transition through our specific sub-theme from purpose to profit, innovation to impact, and ecosystem-driven entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurs are driving impact well before holding official titles. Profit alone is no longer. Innovation and impact are now at the core of successful business model. The ventures are not just reshaping industries, but also embedding sustainability and fostering collaboration across entire ecosystem.
By leveraging frontier technologies and building enterprises where purpose drives profit, they are setting new benchmarks of agility and inclusivity. They are actively shaping the strategies and governance of established corporations, making resilience, responsibility, and inclusivity essential elements of business growth.
A topic of discussion for the summit is essentially about purpose-driven energy of the new generation and channeling it into sustainable, impactful, and profitable ventures.
Through today's dialogue, we will explore questions such as how are entrepreneurs embedding purpose into their business DNA to show that profit follows impact? How can frontier technologies like AI and digital systems act as force multipliers to drive sustainability and inclusive growth? Moving forward, let's have a look at the sub-theme video of Entrepreneurship Summit 2025.
honored to have reputed industry stalwarts who exemplify the spirit of purposeful leadership joining us today. Before we begin the summit, we would like to give a brief introduction of our distinguished panelists, starting with introducing our moderator for this summit. Our esteemed moderator for this summit will be Professor Devashish Mathur, Assistant Professor of Strategy and General Management at IMI Delhi. A distinguished scholar and educator, Professor Mathur holds a PhD in Public Policy and Governance from MTI Gurgaon and a bachelor's degree from IIT Bombay. With a career that bridges academia, policy, and entrepreneurship, he has worked with policy think tanks and startups, bringing a unique intersection of research depth and practical experience to his work. At IMI, he continues to inspire future leaders to think critically about how organizations can drive meaningful change in society. We welcome to Sir. May I invite the Secretary of Entrepreneurship Club, Shivam Veshist, on stage to felicitate Professor Mathur as a green token of welcome.
Now, we start with welcoming our distinguished panelists. I am delighted to welcome our first panelist, Mr. Jitin Bhasin, founder and CEO of SaveIn, a pioneering healthcare fintech platform transforming the way Indians access private healthcare through its innovative Care Now, Pay Later model. With over 2 decades of leadership experience in finance and entrepreneurship, he has previously led ventures like Rupee Reedy and Think Friends, driving innovation at the intersection of finance and technology. A Y Combinator alumnus and MBA graduate from the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, we are delighted to have you with us today, sir. A very warm welcome to you. May I now request Professor Mathur to kindly felicitate Mr. Jitin Bhasin.
Our next panelist, Mr. Rubir Singh, is the global CEO of Tatwik, a leading data and analytics company driving digital transformation for businesses worldwide. With over 15 years of experience, including leadership role at Google as head of partnership for the Google marketing platform in India, he has been instrumental in helping organizations use data to drive innovation and growth. An alumnus of Stanford University and IIM Trichy and a member of Forbes Technology Council, we're truly honored to have you with us today, sir. A very warm welcome to you. May I request Professor Mathur to kindly felicitate Mr. Rubir Singh.
Our next panelist, Mr. Satyaprem Upadhyay, founder and CEO of Nojoto, is a visionary entrepreneur with over 15 years of experience in building innovative digital platforms. He has successfully created a unique storytelling ecosystem that enables creators to express themselves, connect with audience, and monetize their ideas. Under his leadership, Nojoto has grown into one of India's leading platforms for creator-led content, bridging the gap between storytelling and technology. His entrepreneurial journey is a testament to how a strong sense of purpose combined with technological innovation can create impact at scale and empower voices from every corner of the country. May I now request Professor Mathur to kindly felicitate Mr. Satyaprem Upadhyay.
As our next panelist, we would like to introduce Ms. Shobha Rudra, founder and partner of Rare India, a community of owner-run boutique hotels rooted in conservation, culture and community. A pioneer in sustainable and experiential travel, she has built a powerful brand that redefines hospitality by blending authenticity, culture and environmental consciousness. We are glad to have you here with us today, ma'am. May I request Professor Mathur to kindly felicitate Ms. Shobha Rudra.
Last but not the least, Ms. Smita Singhal, founder and director of Absolute Water Private Limited, a purpose-led company proving that circular, nature-based innovation can solve real-world water crisis. Smita is the mind behind the Absolute Vermi Filter, India's first 100% nature-based system, zero chemical, no sludge wastewater recovery system that turns sewage into safe, reusable water. Her work has earned global attention, featured on Discovery Channel's Planet Healers, and recognition from international platforms for sustainability and market transformation. With over 2 decades of leadership, she has championed scalable water solutions for cities, campuses, industry, and communities, showing how entrepreneurship can create impact at speed and at scale. May I now request Professor Mathur to kindly felicitate Ms. Smita Singhal. Each of our speakers brings a unique lens to the table, from storytelling and sustainability to fintech, analytics, and experiential travel, showcasing how innovation truly thrives when rooted in purpose.
With this, we would like to invite our esteemed moderator, Professor Devashish Mathur, to take it from here and commence the Entrepreneurship Summit 2025.
Thank you. Thanks, Itika. Thanks, Tavan. That was a very interesting 2 videos, and we got a glimpse into what we are trying to achieve here. So I hope I am audible, neither too loud nor too feeble. Otherwise, let me know. But hello, namaskar. Good evening to all of you. Let me extend a very warm welcome to, as introduced, a very decorated panel of people who have seen it all, done it all. In fact, we've had a mini panel discussion downstairs in the committee room already. So we are already warmed up. And since we are running late, I think we can, jump straight into it. When I learned about the theme, what they mentioned, the theme for Conventus this year is, these guys are now, this is the initiative that they have shown. They have chosen a theme of next generation guiding the boardroom in the future. And when I learned about the sub-theme for our panel, the Entrepreneurship Summit, I actually, was remembered. I was remembering these iconic lines by poet Iqbal. I'm sure all of you have heard these lines. He said, "सितारों के आगे जहाँ और भी हैं, सितारों के आगे जहाँ और भी हैं, अभी इश्क के इम्तिहां और भी हैं." I'm sure if Iqbal was doing an MBA or if he had a business of his own, I am reading these lines as he's pointing towards that no business can sit pretty having found success. Businesses and values are constantly evolving. In fact, the next lines, the couplet in this ghazal, which comes later on, he writes, "इसी रोज ओ शब में उलझ के ना रह जा, इसी रोज ओ शब में उलझ के ना रह जा, कि तेरे ज़मा और मकां और भी हैं." And if you know the meaning of the word zama, it means there are people who you are responsible to. They look up to you, you have to protect them. I find these words having striking, reference to a business's responsibility towards society. So although this is a ghazal and I'm sure, yeah, I have admitted him into an MBA program. But because these are very popular lines, I found them very befitting for this theme that we are looking towards the future. What lies ahead? Or kaun se jahan hai, what are the horizons that we need to now take cognizance of? So that's what we are going to talk about. So quick disclaimer. This sounds like a post-tea session in a 3-day test match. But so I hope you can keep up the energy. So I would want you to make it interactive. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you to pick their brains. So I'll rather have you to ask questions. So what I'll do is, I'll adopt a format where I'll throw them a couple of questions, which I'll request each of them to answer. Then I'll throw it to you. I'll take 2-3 questions from you guys. Then I'll again do a couple of questions. I've planned for a rapid fire also for you to make it interesting. And then I'll open the floor for questions, which we can do for the last 20-30 minutes. Sounds good? So be prepared for the questions. Let me kickstart. with them. So what I'll do is I'll quickly ask you to, from my perspective, I want you to address the elephant in the room, and I'll frame the question that way. That, is profit and purpose mutually exclusive? We come from a generation where we have seen it that way. Either you can pursue profit or you can be mindful of what your purpose is. Do you think, to me it sounds like a paradox. Either a business can find purpose or find profit. And while pursuing profit, they can possibly find their purpose. But how do you balance them? So how have you found that balance? How did you find your purpose? So we can start with Jitin and we can move to Smita.
Yeah, thanks, Devashish. I think it's a very interesting question, but how I would like to answer, what my experience is that purpose without profit is unsustainable, right? And profit without purpose is terribly boring. You could be gambling, you can make a lot of money. It may not be something that you would want to wake up for every day. And you could have a brilliant purpose that I'll change the world. If it doesn't make you money, you will die a painful death at some point. So I think it is imperative for people to build that balance between profit and purpose. Purpose can be a germinating influence for somebody to start. You don't start one day and say, I'll make X crore of profit. You start one day, especially when you build a company, you want to make people happy, right? I think at Y Combinator, they say famously, make something that people love or what they want. But then if it doesn't yield profit, at some point, it'll become painful or difficult, yeah? So I think the way I would like to answer is exactly what I said. You have to strike a balance between profit and purpose, and both of them are absolutely essential if you want to build something which lasts and has an impact.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take it.
I think from the perspective of where do you start the journey, you might get the ignition and charge and excitement. Could be from you found an idea who is profitable instantly. You might have found an idea who has a great purpose, but profit is not there in your vision or in calculation. Could be impact first. A lot of people immediately gets the benefit. Again, profit nahi hai ya purpose nahi hai. So it's okay to start from either of the doors, but the responsibility for you lies ahead that you have to find the other two fastest possible, because the moment you have this united well, not just with you as the product leader, company leader, it has to become a critical portion of your culture. Eventually, every person within your team eventually will have KPIs around it, should have KPIs around it. Depending on where do you start the journey from. It's a profit-first company trying to adjust to purpose and mission, which constantly evolves. Eventually, you want to have impact either on the customer, in the teams, or in the industry, or overall at that, if it leads to an economy scale company. But all three are mutually exclusive in the journey in most cases. They start in their silos, eventually inclusive if they have to be a meaningful mission company. I would say that.
Nice answer.
So basically, we started a platform focused on people who can express and create content. Because I did theatre for about 2-3 years. मुझे लगा थिएटर में ना बंदे को ना पैसे नहीं मिलते यार, बहुत मेहनत कराते हैं, पैसे नहीं मिलते हैं. Then my younger brother was a radio jockey, and then he also was fantastic but also not making money. My mother was a writer, and she was a good writer but not making money. So I also did MBA from MICA and was learning यार मतलब पढ़ तो लिया, अच्छी कहानी है, but पैसा क्यों नहीं मिल पा रहा है? मतलब there is a problem which is existing and there is no solution. So the larger perspective was to find a solution. And then in my journey of working with 2 companies, the larger perspective was कि इसका solution बनाना है. So the journey starts at finding a deep customer problem that you can resonate. कि यार life में लोगों की problem solve करनी है. So the journey starts with a purpose for some people. Slowly, as Jitin also mentioned, अगर वो profit नहीं बनाएगा तो वो पर्पस फिर एनजीओ में कन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा, उसको प्राइवेट लिमिटेड हटाना पड़ेगा उसी कंपनी को. तो पॉइंट है कि अगर वो पर्पस जो है वो प्रॉफिट में ट्रांसलेट नहीं हुआ तो इट विल नॉट बेसिकली बिकम अ गुड स्केलेबल बिजनेस अपॉर्चुनिटी विच कि अगर आपने मान लो 100 लोगों की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर दी है, पर वो 100 लोगों की प्रॉब्लम को अगर हमें 1 लाख, 1 करोड़, 10 करोड़ तक लेके जाना है, इट हैज़ टू बिकम सस्टेनेबल बाय प्रॉफिट. Only then it can basically scale to more and more people. That's the story of business. But the challenge, and आप सभी अब B schools में, is starting with purpose, making profit, making sure both are alive. होता क्या है कि there are too many people in the journey who are guiding us कि नहीं भाई रेवेन्यू तो बढ़ाना पड़ेगा, IPO करना है तो रेवेन्यू तो बढ़ाना पड़ेगा. तो जो फोर्स करेंगे लोग बाग हमारी जर्नी के अंदर कि यार ये करना पड़ेगा, एंड इफ द फाउंडर कैन कीप फोकस ऑन व्हाई ही स्टार्टेड एंड व्हाट इज नेसेसरी टू कीप द इंजन रनिंग, आई थिंक दैट्स बेसिकली द प्रॉब्लम इज सॉल्व. बट द प्रॉब्लम हैपन्स व्हेन पीपल डीफोकसेस ऑफ व्हाई दे स्टार्टेड. वो अगर वो भूल जाते हैं कि क्यों शुरू हुआ था, मैं मेरी कहानी क्या है, देन बिकम्स अ चैलेंज. तो द आंसर टू द क्वेश्चन इज कि whatever, why, the reason why you started the company, the purpose should always be remaining, whether it is 1 consumer, 10 consumer, or a crore consumer, and it has to make money to basically make sustainable in terms of long term.
A lot of this is I think is quite academic. Like, you know, if you have decided to build a business, but I built my business because I knew I had a couple of skills, and I knew I wanted to do something and be close to my children. And the only opportunity I had in a place which I didn't come from, I mean, I moved from South to Delhi, was travel. So purpose came, the purpose was very limited at that point in time. Don't move too far away from the house so that you can look after kids. Do something that's interesting and that can engage your skills. And then, fortunately, it was travel. So I was having a lot of fun, right? So the purpose started to come on, you know, later on. So even if you didn't make a lot of money, what do you do with all the money anyway? So you travel, you buy stuff. I was not interested in buying things, but I was traveling. So one part of it was, in any case, you know, adding to my idea of what I wanted to do with my life. But over a period of time, you know, I mean, I became an entrepreneur when I was 27 years old, right? And as the business developed around me, it literally, it was like a book that kind of you wrote out as you went along. You learned along the way. Rare is a hotel marketing company. We market small boutique hotels, and every time you met a new hotel, you learned something. You went to a wildlife lodge, you learned something. In the process, everything you knew, it's like the universe conspiring to put you in a place that you were meant for. And everything you learned till then, I was interested in arts, I was interested in music, I was interested in wildlife, I was a part of the marine conservation when I was in college. All of that kind of summed up to what I was able to bring to the table. So the business was established, you know, doing very well in the sense everybody wanted to join Rare. But coming to the part of profit, I didn't think that I needed to make a lot of money. I thought, yeah, everybody's getting a salary, I'm taking home some money. But once the purpose is established, your profit is driven by where the company then needs to go. You want more people. Somebody told me when I was in the business, they said if you're one person doing your business, you will run a business for yourself. If you start having more people, if you employ more people and you grow your business has to go away from you and has to include everybody's aspirations, and that includes their monetary aspirations. So that balance, as everybody pointed out, between profit and purpose, I guess the most important thing is balance, and also how much you how you kind of constantly evolve to make sure that you don't deviate too far from the purpose to make the profit happen. So you kind of keep striving to set your goals on the purpose, maybe little changes that you make, but then not moving too far away from the purpose. Like, for instance, when the COVID happened, I had to do things that I normally wouldn't do because I had 14 people to pay salaries to. So the purpose kind of got sidetracked a bit, and I had to, because we had to pay some salary for people to go together. So I guess, yeah, purpose and profit should go together as long as the profit doesn't really undermine or take precedence over the purpose where you have envisaged your business to be.
All right, thanks. Smita.
Okay, I'm going to take this a little less theoretical. How many of you here, just raise your hands, how many of you here who have started your MBA, how many of you are commerce students here from school? Wow, okay, that's
Good number of them.
not even like 30%, right? 40% of the kids? Rest are all,
Let's
I'm assuming,
say
science
30.
and arts, right? Right? Okay. So the reason I asked this question is because I'm running a wastewater technology company. I am not a science kid. I didn't do any engineering, no nothing, okay? So this entire business was based purely on passion, purely on the fact of wanting to give clean access of water to anybody and everybody and make it affordable, right? My entire education was in advertising and marketing, just so you know, and moved into a space of which I had zero idea about, but I had a passion for it. So in very simple terms, passion does drive business, yes, and profit has to drive it because you have to keep it sustainable, you have to keep it working, and more importantly, you have to feed your own passion. And it's very important to invest in people who can support that for you. Because I can't get up today and say, like, I know everything technical about everything to do with wastewater technology. But what I do know, I do it well, and the fact that I've been able to learn on the job, I think is a brilliant form of education. I don't think that can match any kind of form of, theory or education or a degree. So I think I'm the prime example of that, where I'm running a business of which I was not educated in. Simple as that. So yeah, passion, profit, everything works hand in hand according to me. You just have to keep going, as they all said, and be sure that whatever you're doing, like, you're truly makes you happy at the end of the day. Because I think an emotional and psychological strength is also very important, because you can have days where you break down and say, who am I doing this for? What am I doing it for? I have such a great idea. I'm doing something for the planet. I'm doing something for every person living here today and for the future generation. But why is nobody considering that to be a good idea? So that's where you kind of just, dig your ground, get the network, figure out your, how you're going to make your money, figure out how, the whole system works. And I think it just kind of works automatically, beautifully. But just my entire thing is you just need to stay strong. And stay strong to who true you are, and everything else comes with it.
Wonderful. I think, yeah, I mean, the first round of answers have answered the theoretical question. So now, getting the theory aside, so let me fire a couple of questions to what you said. So my takeaway from this round was, profits without purpose is boring. And coming from someone like you, that it's a big statement, because you gave an example of gambling. So you can have a lot of profits, but ultimately, in my head, the keyword is addiction, that profits without purpose can be addictive. And at some point you'll break down, you'll need rehab, right? But also, so quick question to you, Shobha. When you are saying that you chose to do something where you, by choice, you are remaining small, but in terms of scale, essentially, that you would only cater to small boutique hotels, staycations kind of properties. Do you think you take it as a norm, or you think you are an exception?
You mean You mean has the industry
Yeah.
doing the same? Or
Yeah.
At the time I started, I was the exception. There was no money in small hotels because hotels. By small hotels, I mean small inventory, like 9-room hotels, 10-room hotels. So just maybe you might not know the industry, but imagine a hotel having 100 rooms and a hotel having 10 rooms. Even if it was mine is a membership company. Look at the difference which a 10-room hotel will pay and a 100-room hotel will pay. Even if you look at it as a revenue, as a share of revenue, imagine how many room nights can you book in a 10-room hotels and how many you can book in. So it was a personal choice. It was later I understood that, quickly I understood that there was a gap in the market for that kind of thing. Yeah.
But did you ever think about that I could have gone on this pathway, but I'm choosing to stay here, and without calling it a conflict between profit and purpose, you chose it like very confidently, or you had to sacrifice something for that?
So, by the time larger hotels started asking me, I was already entrenched in this small hotel business. So I remember a classic thing. A large hotel group came to me and said, "Listen, they were an international brand coming into India, by which time I was already 25 hotel. I must say 25 hotels are hoteliers. So each hotel is run by a hotel. While we have this large brand coming into India, I can give you the name, called Movenpick. And they said, please come and take a look. And I was at a stage where I could just give up the 25 hotels, take the Movenpick brand and make 3 times the money than what the 25 hotels would have given me. They invited me to Bangalore. I went and stayed in the first Movenpick hotel. I liked their ice cream. I came back and I said, I'm good with my 25 hotels. So, yeah.
Great. Now I suddenly wish we could have those ice creams. But I also take away something which Satyaprem said, that, if you have to choose, if I were to put in myself in your shoes, you are at this juncture in your life, and you are wondering about whether you need to pursue, I'm not using the word chase, but you need to pursue, profits ultimately. That's what the world will tell you, irrespective of what we tell you in classrooms. You need to look at what problems you are solving. Right. So a good entrepreneur, I'm paraphrasing what you said, is someone who solves problems always, and problems will never go away. Right. So question to all of you, anyone can start. Was there a point in time when you realized, oh, now this is the kind of entrepreneur I want to be? I am a problem solver. Everything else will follow. So I'm not going into the academic discussion of profit versus purpose. I don't have a big vision for my startup. I have a passion, like Smita said. But was there a point where there was a conflict and you had to choose something? And what did you choose? Yeah.
If I may. So when I started this business, I figured that, we were able to figure out that there is like she correctly said, you find that gap, find your specialty, right? So the capacities of treatment like I do is very minimum. It's a definite, it's a perfect number where I'm not too small and nor am I going with the big guns. And the thing is, it's all about cost and ROI and affordability at the end of the day for the final consumer, right? So having found that niche in that market is where I was able to scale. So that's I went backwards rather than go full frontal. So the point was that when we're able to find that, we had a lot more people. So we're talking about say RWAs, we're talking about small hotels, boutique hotels, resorts, we're talking about restaurants, we're talking about, so they wanted the wastewater to be treated and reused. They all had this consciousness, but they didn't know how. Right? And they can't go to a big companies like, a Bag or a Viola or whatever and say they'll be like, who are you? And so that's where this whole, marketing strategy was predominantly that's the market I want to be in. And I'm not ambitious to go to the top end, but I am comfortable where I am because that's where I'm making my money. And literally that was it.
I think your question is that if you ever had to decide to pursue something that you really wanted to. So I'm a second-time entrepreneur. And when COVID hit, I had founded a company called Rupee Ready. It's a lending company. We used to give loans to people. It has 10 million users on the Play Store, 500,000 on the App Store. Personally, I'm very passionate about health and fitness. And in 2021, I decided to exit Rupee Ready, and I set up Savin. And Savin is about healthcare and wellness. So why did I do it? For two reasons. Not only because I'm passionate, and yes, it was a driving force, but I understood that when we live in a society and when we, let's say, live in a particular generation, there are some inflection points which are once in a generation inflection points. COVID was that inflection point for people of our generation. If you talk to anybody, their sensitization about healthcare has become 10x after COVID. So if you're not healthy, you're wasting your time. You could be doing anything that you want. And they say this famously, you could have 100 problems till you have a health problem, because after that you only have one problem, which is the health problem, right? So I was like, okay, this is the time for me to do something which I A, am passionate about. B, I think the society is screaming for a solution. And if I can find a problem for which I can have a product which may find market fitment, then it will scale. Right. Yeah. At that point, we launched Savin, which simply allows you to pay for private healthcare in monthly installments without incurring a single rupee of interest. It's like how you buy an Apple phone on zero-cost EMI. So we're India's largest zero-cost EMI network for private care. So the answer to your question is, yes, I had to make that decision. I switched from a company, which by the way makes very good revenue and profit, my previous venture, even today, and I'm glad it continues to run. But I exited because I wanted to spend the next decade or more building something which I was passionate about, and I thought that the problem could be much more pronounced if I could solve that problem well. So, and if you can find that balance between your passion, a problem which may find buyers who may want to pay for your solution, and then if you can scale, then, I define impact as a function of, let's say, the purpose multiplied by profit. Right. That's, impact. Correct. So if you can just have a purpose which is solving and it is scaling, it will create big impact, right? Because if people are buying and if it's scaling, then, it's big impact. Correct. Automatically. Yep. So healthcare is universal, everybody needs, etc., etc. In my mind, those answers were clear. I was able to take that risk. That, okay, fine, I'll let this go and I'll start from scratch all over again. Right. Yeah. So you do have to make those choices.
I'll add a small point.
Yes.
And it could be very important for all of you who are in your first year, second year. See, as you are sitting in these chairs and thinking कि मेरे को आगे career में क्या करना है, and you have a plan कि यार ABC, and maybe some people have an entrepreneurship story कि यार मैं कुछ बनाऊंगा अपना, कुछ धंधा खोलूंगा, कुछ कंपनी बनाऊंगा. तो we have a world view, which basically are, this is what we're going to do. We're going to solve water, we're going to solve hotel, whatever that world view of yours is basically. As we progress and grow, there will always be something shiny which will be there. Whether it is AI, whether it is BI, whether it is revenue, कोई fundraising के वजह से hero बन रहा होगा, कोई AI के वजह से hero बन रहा होगा. But the purpose you started out with again, and the world view that you have, उसको protect करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. अगर वो आपकी जो business thesis है कि I am going to make money like this, irrespective of the shiny objects that come in and influence you, कि यार ये नहीं, ये कर लेना चाहिए, यार ये बड़ा cool है. This is advertising. इसको छोड़ते हुए एक बार, whatever reason and the thesis that you, or the worldview that you started out with, कि I'm going to make the world better by giving good quality water, for example. Irrespective AI is happening, BI is happening, she's saying कि मैं साफ पानी ही बनाऊंगी boss. That is very, very difficult, irrespective. And I think as you, because अभी आप लोग 20-22 साल के होंगे, your world, your brain is shaping. So whatever direction, कि यार I'm going to make fashion, Indian ethnic, jewelry, whatever. तो उसमें अगर purpose और profit long term दिख रहा हो, तो उस thesis को फिर छोड़ना नहीं चाहिए, irrespective of any shiny objects or shiny things being marketed कि यार ये बड़ा cool है. That's the only point I wanted to basically add.
Interesting and well said.
Um, yeah, I mean, I do think, I mean, the case of my business, it's a very different business to products and things. It's a service-oriented business, right? And you work doubly hard because it's also very, like most travel is, there is no entry barrier. Anybody can pick up a computer, find a hotel, and say, I'm a marketing company, I'm XYZ, I'm rarer. This is rare, I'm rarer. But the thing is, what I realized is I had to do two things to make sure. But till 2009, I had no competition. There was nobody in the field. So I was like the go-to person to say, anybody opened a hotel anywhere, especially in Northern India and Central India, they would say, please go and meet this lady. But it is also a very small market because I was addressing the B2B market. 20 people is a crowded space. If there were 20 representation companies like me, marketing companies like me, it's a crowded space. So, which meant, what would that mean to business? What would it mean to a business like mine, like a PR business or a marketing business, is that whatever it is that you're doing, like either you're charging a membership fee or you're charging commission on sale, you cannot expand quickly. Generally in travel, what happens is everything goes up by 10%, 15% year upon year. You actually cannot do that because quickly somebody is chasing you with it. In fact, 2-3 people quit my company and opened a similar company. So I had to do two things. Number one, I had to keep myself at least 10 years ahead of the next person. And that was I might not look like that, but I'm very competitive. I need elbow space. So that's one of the first things I did. I did so much in my narrative. When social media came, nobody was even looking at it. I was one of the first people to get onto it. When pandemic happened, nobody thought you could survive in travel doing taking an event online. I was the first one to do an Insta Live. So this thing that, stay ahead of the rest of the competition, that was a very important thing because it is not there is no textbook to this thing. Generally in marketing, like there's no formulas that have already been presented to you. In travel marketing, there was even less. Nobody even knew that a company like this could exist. The second thing was to define your space very, very clearly. So which is where when he's saying, did you take small hotels as a thing? So when people ask me, what's the difference between you and your next, your competition? So number one, my competition is about 5-6 steps behind me. Because when I said marketing, everything that was like a spiel, whether it was internet, whether it was making zines, whether it was creating literature, whether it was writing newsletters, whatever it was that took, I went right ahead and I went way ahead of anybody else. I wrote better than anybody else. I mean, I didn't write. I made a team that wrote better than anybody else. So the way this marketing, my business, I don't think every business could be like this, but my business kind of evolved around one, my own competitive spirit, B, my idea that I wanted to use and better my skills all the time, and my innate curiosity to say, I could do this better. And the fourth most important thing is, when I said I want to do boutique hotels, I became even more anal about it. So when large hotels used to come, or even a 15-room hotel would come, they would know that she won't accept my hotel. So they knew, they would come and tell me, I've made a hotel just with the kind of ideas that you would accept, you would be expecting out of it. मैंने तो rare hotel ही बनाया है. I would say, no, this is not a rare hotel. So the benchmark, if you say, this is my benchmark, मैं इसके नीचे मैं जाऊंगी नहीं. You can do whatever you want. You can pay me less. I don't mind being paid less. But the product is what I want. It is my curation. So that is how I think I learned over a period of time. And 24 years later, my company is still held among those people who've been uncompromising in their purpose. Purpose also came later. The sustainability story came in much later. After 10 years, people started talking about sustainability. But before that, it was only experience and the narration. So I believe that you grow with your story. I actually picked up a small piece of paper and I made a book out of it because the story kept growing and growing. And as the story grew, I became my own university. My business was my university. I learned everything. I'm not a businesswoman. In fact, my father, we are Tamil Brahmins from the south, and my father would say, Brahmins can't do business. Kya kar rahi ho? What are you doing business about? And I don't make a lot of money, but I do run a very small, efficient business. Does that?
It does, for sure. Thanks. Ruby, do you want to add
Yeah,
something?
Professor, I request you to repeat the question. My
No worries.
brain is absorbing. I get excited midway their stories. So I want to make sure that I stay focused on your question.
I'm glad there's someone other than me also who goes through the same thing. So I'm also reminding myself of the question. What I wanted to know was there at any point in time where you faced this conflict of purpose versus profit, and do you remember a point where you had to choose one?
Actually, endlessly, I've been every year exposed to this conflict. See, my journey was not entrepreneurial in true sense. My most of the career is corporate. So in the beginning, I decided that I need to self-evaluate. Do I have enough skills to create a business? And most of the years, I realized I need to learn more constantly. So just out of my graduation, I jumped into technology space. First US entity coming to India, setting books here, hired me as a station chief. Okay, I still don't want to be a CXO. Give me a business portion of unit to start, and then set up 20-member team, and I'll give you a running profitable business. And then, okay, now I want to take a higher challenge. Can I run 5 business branches efficiently? Took me 3 years to run. Then a new kind of a business was launching in India called OTA. Go Ibibo, if you heard a company name. So I was part of the early team, and at that time, India didn't have QR codes. So my team was the first team who actually used QR codes. And Go Ibibo was a company founded by Google India first country head. He exited Google and launched Go Ibibo, PayU, WeChat, the China version of WhatsApp was launched by that team. 5-6 companies he launched as a flare out of raising money from Nespers. And the core of the team and his way of working is work on technology which is 5 years ahead. The country doesn't even have it. And he needs to bring people who wants to just work on technology who doesn't exist. So he will send people internationally, go figure out what Israel is doing, what US is doing. Technology will come to India 3-4 years later. India doesn't even have a MWeb version of website. Everybody's desktop in 2012. So launch QR codes. Eventually everything is QR codes right now, 12 years later. So that is still corporate career, but most of these are super accelerated businesses which are technologically impactful for the country. And then Google happened, and Google was again launching a super new business, which is Google Marketing Platform, a bigger version of Google Ads, only works with the top 100 companies of the country. I was fortunate enough to get exposed to this conflict. Should I start my business, or I want to solve 100 parallel problems of juggernauts of the country? Yeah. And those are technology problems, advertisement problems, marketing problems, and all of them have a unique situation, all in competition. So I chose इसमें ज़्यादा मजा आ रहा है. मैं इसमें 100 कंपनियों के पैरेलल प्रोसेसेस और उनके वे ऑफ वर्किंग एंड कंपटीशन एंड स्ट्रेटजी को सीख रहा हूँ. And then, but in parallel, I always had colleagues who are basically exiting the teams, who are moving to another company, have reached a curve where they have acquired all the skills they believe to start a business and run it efficiently. And then they have an idea. Then every year gets bumped to, should I exit this and join them? But I invest in them. And then I invest and have them grow. And whatever I'm learning from 100 companies in parallel, I'm giving that knowledge. I'm reducing their wastage, I'm reducing their risks, I'm reducing their mistakes. And then they grow, I any which ways make money. My entrepreneur journey is out right now running with 8-9 projects. He's running around 40 projects. So that is a journey that is, either way is the same thing, but just this assignment, which is with Tatvik 2+ years, is a full-fledged entrepreneurial work. But that is after 14 years of corporate career. and learning all the processes, learning global way of working things, importing technology, understanding industries, heartbeat, all industries, not just one technology or one industry. And just understanding a country by heartbeat. The next thing for India is manufacturing. India will win a lot of business from China.
Yeah.
But do you see that happening? As you wake up in the morning, you are able to see 20 sectors, what India will do in next 3 years as a khabar in your mind. You have arrived and you can now create a business which probably will not fail, and you will spot opportunity. I can just give an example. Have you heard about a company called HubSpot? Yes, HubSpot acquired a company called Xfunnel. They just announced it yesterday. The founder created a company 10 months back, Xfunnel. Their first customer was 6 months back and just got acquired by HubSpot. And the founders basically focused on one solution, जो भी chat GPT आप use करते हो. All the GPTs and all basically the generative LLMs are generating answers. And all of these generative engines are now the new traffic source. So you have a brand and you want to evaluate, am I being represented right in your answers? All of them are not saying the same things. They are miscalculating, hallucinating. They are just going and are punching algorithmically, what do you say about this brand? And they're recording that, which is called answer engine optimization. So the brands want to know if the generating engines are talking about our brand in brand guidelines, right way. And they only have like barely few customers. And that founder spotted the idea because he was able to see 3 years ahead. And he has not raised a capital. He has raised an idea which is valuable for 1 year. If you are able to see this, I'm telling you will make more money in 1 year than you will create a venture in 10 years. You will keep on raising money, you will dilute a lot of equity, eventually you will exit by pressure. But if you are able to see 3 years ahead and invest in 10 companies parallel who might not run, but you see the radar constantly, you make more money in lesser time. So my dilemma is I want to be in the radar and see the heartbeat and invest with conscious calculation and not be part of getting into execution and running it well, but make the bets calculatively and basically multiply the bet and still see the purpose.
Fascinating. So the things what Rubir mentioned, in fact, he said something in the middle. When he met with the conflict, he, your defining moment was मुझे ये करने मजा आ रहा तो मैं यही करता हूँ. So, I don't remember who said this, but someone said कि 1000 काम हैं मोहब्बत में मजे के करने के, जो लोग कुछ नहीं करते कमाल करते हैं. So I think here मोहब्बत equates to entrepreneurship. Pick up, solve a problem, you will do market and value discovery. वो अपने आप हो जाएगा.
I can add one anecdote to that. Guru Gobind Singh ji, when he was in the forest coming from one battle going to Anandpur Sahib, तब उनके उस phase में he was sleeping in the night, and if you go through his journey, उनके सर के ऊपर एक नाग होते हैं जो उनको protect करते हैं. And at that time there is a geet that is profound. It's called Prem Bhayo Tadhi Prabh Payo. So he is so focused on his mission. He's in love with this mission. He doesn't see anything else as less materialistic. So जो आपने initial जी बोली थी, it's not a romance quote. And this is not even a romance quote. So whatever you're doing, if you are so much in love with that, you will win, or the impact and profit and everything comes out. मजा आ रहा है, you are in love, you will enjoy it.
Absolutely. Okay, it's time for your questions. Let's have first question. We'll see if you can make it really interesting. Ask. Yeah. Can we pass on the mic, please? Pass mic.
कितना पास बैठे हो, आराम से बोलो. हाँ. Oh yeah. Okay.
So good evening. Thank you so much for the highly stimulating discussion. Today, ventures are scaling at an escalating rate, and as a result, culture is something which often takes a backseat. So how do you ensure that value-driven culture is upheld while fostering a sense of growth and diversity?
I'm just paraphrasing the question so that I understand what you're asking. You are saying, with the rapidly changing value systems and the fame that VCs are getting, how do you make sure that the culture remains intact? The culture of what we all talked about till now.
That's the question?
Yeah, the culture that the business propagates.
What's your good name and who's the question addressed to?
It's an open question,
Okay.
and my name is Akriti.
Okay. So Akriti wants to know, how do you preserve and nurture culture? Anyone?
So if the question is कि venture backed investors जब आ रहे हैं तो कल्चर को कैसे प्रोटेक्ट करें, बेसिक क्वेश्चन आपका ये है, करेक्ट?
Right, like how do we make a choice between scaling it right while also maintaining the inherent value systems of the company?
देखो बहुत इसमें सिंपल सा पर्सपेक्टिव है कि जिस भी बंदे ने पैसा लगाया है वो घोड़े पे मतलब जॉकी पे इसलिए लगाया है क्योंकि उसको घोड़ा चलाना आता है. तो whoever is invested money onto the founder or the entrepreneur, that he's going to run this business this way, understanding that the guy who's running the shop understands his business very very well and understands that culture very very well is a good investor, or because a lot of people are investing into business, so is a good investor. He knows his stuff very very well. Obviously they will give suggestions, like I have a like he's a 7-year, he's been on my board for last 7 years. He gives advice like, this is my advice, but you have to take the right decision. If it becomes wrong, it's your problem. And every time I face a conflict, for example, इससे पैसा लेना है कि नहीं लेना है, या हमें यहाँ पे expand करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए, we send him a 1-pager note and he gives his suggestion कि बॉस ये मेरा thought process है, डिसीजन तेरा है, सही हुआ तो भी तेरा है, गलत हुआ तो भी तेरा है. Whichever team, leadership team is working, decide and focus and solve and come to a conclusion. So I think, but there are people in the path, not everything is right. So there are people in the path who will obviously be giving that you should do this way, that way. And I've seen in my path also, ये कर लेंगे तो जल्दी पैसा बन जाएगा, for example. And at that point, the founder or the writer of the story needs to control कि बस नहीं ये नहीं होगा, because this is good for short term but bad for long term. But again, for example, pandemic and couple of instances are there where we have to make difficult choices कि कितना deviation होना है and कितना deviation कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि story के बाहर निकल जाए. That's the basic perspective, that the guy who's running the business should know basically that how to protect the culture because of which he started.
Like he correctly said, I think the founder has to be very strong about what their own, ethics for that matter, right? So for example, I'm treating wastewater naturally. I'm never going to allow any form of chemical or anything that is going to speeden up the process. Let's just say that, right? I could go there. I would be making far more money right now if I was doing conventional treatment. Simple example. And if I have a investor saying that no, why don't you consider other forms or try and do it this way or do it that, like he correctly said. But if I'm very strong about the fact that I don't want my reputation to be kind of diluted because of the greed of money or want of expansion. We all want that for our companies. We all want that for our teams. But at the end of the day, what is it that you hold true? And you should be, I think, strong enough to hold on to that and not, move around because money is available. Simple. No other language.
Don't change your North Star, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you, Akriti. I think all of us sitting here at some point in time have to ask this question of ourselves. And I'm actually sitting in a position where I'm checking, oh my God, if I have to give my company over to somebody, will he run there with the same ethos as what I did? And I've got various advices. One would say, ki, your company, you run it as long as you don't. Once you give, they're not going to take everything of the company. They'll probably retain a couple of core ideas and then, they'll do that thing. That would be one other thing. And give it when somebody is asking for whatever money they're asking. It's a good deal. Just go ahead and give it. That was one advice I would get. And the other advice would be from the hoteliers themselves who are a part of our community, who would be very, very skeptical about handing it over to people who might not understand the work and the idea and the whole the whole sentiment of keeping it small, sustainable, talking about water conservation, talking about garbage management, talking about creating employment for the community, keeping the historical facts alive, building value and experiences around culture, around food, cuisine, everything. But as I stand at this juncture and I talk to a lot of people, I know that one is a company culture, is the work culture, the how do we work in the company. That might not be because, there will be many more people, there will be other people, and it will be taken over. A bit of corporatization might come in. So I'm more than 100% certain that the company's work culture might not be the same thing. The culture of the company, in terms of the vision, mission, and things like that, I know for a certainty that about 50, even if it lands at about 50% thing, I would be happy. And this is after talking to many people, after talking to many people who wanted to invest, many people who wanted to do. I'm at that stage that at 50%, if they say, Shobha, you are looking at 20 audit points, now streamline this and make it 10. I think I'll be good at that, yeah.
Think you want to add?
Again, referencing culture protection as you grow, the example might come from Google. Google is known to have the best culture as a company in the world. So over 10 years with them, what I learned is how to protect it. The most important phase is plan so well that your core model is protected for 1 year. If it is not challenged by profit change, if it is not challenged by scale or market dynamics, koi nahi ladai hogi, no principles need to be bent, no original values need to be bent. So if you plan constantly the next year very well, they spend a quarter, Q3 of every year, and they will challenge the model for next 9 months so brutally that it is 80-90% going to land right. And then everybody knows it's going to be fine. Sabke variables aa jayenge, and everybody makes money, and they know this is going to go in the right direction. There are strategy teams who are quarterly checking it. So principally the core model of the business, if it is projected to be growing in the right way for next 1 year or 2 years with the accurate planning, your original values will be protected. If you have another stakeholders who want to push the model to grow faster, in an investor scenario, values will be bent. Your hands will be forced to bend it to grow faster or grab the market faster. And any other external forces or internal forces, external forces, your model is broken because of some outlier innovation has happened. That could be a scenario. But planning protects the original profit model, and that protects the value and culture eventually. And just the corporate example to your question.
But makes a lot of sense. So thanks. Thanks, Akriti, for an insightful question. I'm also looking at time, so I'll take the reins back. I'll just shoot 2 more questions to them, and then I'll throw the floor open for questions. I actually wanted to do a quick rapid fire question. I wanted to be like Karan Johar for 5 minutes, but I just have 2 questions. So no. I want all of you to answer. Favorite entrepreneur or favorite startup? But tell us why. Maybe we can start with Smita and move towards right.
I think Richard Branson with Virgin Atlantic. And it's commendable, the story. It's commendable how he went, started like something on an affordable airfare or airline experience, and then from then on, how many other airline companies have come up with that same model and stuff like that. So I think that is something that I found very commendable, and he stuck through it. More importantly, now of course it is wherever it is,
Okay.
and just not giving up. That was the biggest part.
Perseverance.
Yeah, perseverance.
Perfect.
And standing in line of competition, which was
Yeah.
iconic legends of the aircraft
He has done a cameo
industry.
in Friends when they visit London.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Shobha.
I'm not sure you all will know this a gentleman from the hospitality industry. His name is Sonu Sivdasani, the legendary creator of Suneva, where he we're talking about profit and purpose. He sells each room at $2,500 per night. So, and it's a sustainable hotel, your water conservation, everything is there, everything I wanted, and it sticked. And when his first company, which was called Six Senses, somebody wanted to buy into it, and they bought into it, and he were not investing. It was a joint partnership. They kind of started to blur the lines. He gave it up.
Uncompromising. Satyaprem.
There's a guy called Ben Horowitz. He's written a book called The Hard Things About Hard Things. I like him because obviously he's done a lot of stuff and ultimately managed to get an exit for investors. But a lot of hard work it's been a very difficult journey and he's managed to survive. That's the reason.
Perfect. Ruby.
I would go with JRD Tata. So all the things we are discussing, calculation for impact, he brought so many things which are first for the country. I think airline, 5-star hotels, forward vision again. All these businesses are built on very strong values which stay today even after Ratan Tata has gone to heavens. Lasting business, known to be industrialist. Right? I'll build business for the country, bring new technology to India, create new industries. They have very strong values. They will consistently be protected even if the original founders are gone. Generational change. And everything you see as a business ideally should be, I would say, JRD is an incubation example.
Perfect.
Yeah, I would take two names. One international name, Brian Chesky, Airbnb founder. I don't know how many of you know, but Airbnb almost got shut down during COVID. And I had the good fortune of attending a session where Brian himself shared the story in a YC forum. They shut down almost, and they took the reins and they built Airbnb. It's more than $100 billion company. It's an iconic company with low inventory. They've built something across the world which is scalable. In the Indian context, I have a lot of respect for Vijay Shekhar Sharma. Because I think, especially in the last 3 years, he has demonstrated himself to be like a phoenix. Because everybody knows Airbnb got listed at 21 billion, went down to 4-5 billion market cap, everybody said, inflated IPO, blah, blah, blah. The guy stood tall. He stood there, he could have walked out. A lot of people become chairman, don't remain CEO because it is not easy to run a company, you're wealthy, it's okay. But he has stood there and he's trying to do what is needed of him from shareholder perspective, from employee perspective, and from consumer perspective. So, these are two, resilience I think is extremely important for a founder.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Since we also need to, not need to, but since we want to talk also about, the ecosystem, that's the sub-theme which we have adopted for this session. So a rapid fire question, then I'll shoot a longer question to you. But if all of you individually, you were made the minister for entrepreneurship, let's say for a month, a time period within which you can take decisions and execute, what would you do? Yeah, sure.
I would exempt all taxes on entrepreneurs and VCs.
Tax exemptions?
And in spirit.
Okay. So India becomes a tax haven for entrepreneurs.
Make money.
Okay, perfect.
Create jobs.
Yeah. Ruby.
Yeah, I'll be on the taxing side, but on subsidy side. I'll bring in massive investments and I'll say government, you have to spare 10% of all the earnings of this year for putting a lot of money in industry. I think most of the communist models do that. Build here, take it to other countries, have the subsidy given to the new industry so that they can compete with the market they have entered into with the price that is compatible. This is what I believe China is doing, most companies. And that will explode the industry here and jobs here faster than I would say. And it's a proven model, kuch naya nahi hai. I think more subsidy and faster investment in new industries should be a 1-month job, I think, doable.
I think if from a ministry standpoint, the government needs to basically focus on being self-reliant, Swadeshi. तो जिस भी जगह पे हम कमज़ोर हैं, whether it is whichever category, manufacturing, IT, technology, entertainment, whichever category we are कमज़ोर in terms of being स्वदेशी, उस जगह पे सब्सिडी दे दो या टैक्स कम कर दो तो वो अपने आप ग्रो हो जाएगा. And I think that is very, very important to protect India also from a growth standpoint, because right now, whatever environment is there globally, it's very important for self-reliant of this, as in from a country standpoint. So that's going to be very, very critical.
Okay. Tax and subsidies is the theme so far.
Yeah. So if it is, I agree with him about tax benefits, or not tax them. But if it is particularly aimed at the environment, of being, of trying to do a business that is actually rests lightly on the environment and uses the planet first principle and creating job opportunities, absolutely 100% subsidy, no tax, everything.
Perfect.
It's a brilliant question, by the way. I've thought of this a long time. So 3 things I would do. One is definitely remove red tape, 100%. Second is that to match the investment of what a company has already been invested. So basically, the government also, instead of going through all the 1 million documentation you need to do to prove your worth, like make a private company or a financial company who would kind of already get that value. You've basically vetted that company. So if, for example, sorry Akriti, I'm going to take your name because you're the only person I know. If you started a company and you're getting invested by say 20 lakhs, I'll match that. The ministry will match that. So you get, and this will also be again like tax free, no non-returnable, it's yours to keep and yours to do whatever. And thirdly, to do industry-wise incubation centers where they would get a 3-year kind of a system where they get all possible tools, all possible investment, all possible kind of industry expertise at their thing to use whatever. And incidentally, the only reason I'm saying this is because I saw this in Korea. They actually do that. The government matches what your investment you're getting, irrespective of whatever that amount is. And they have industry-wise incubation centers, and I found that fascinating, and that's why that economy is growing the way it's growing. So yeah.
Perfect. You have my vote.
Right?
For sure. Yeah.
Don't vote for me. I'm already there.
Okay. So I think I wanted to ask, my next question was building on this, that what do we need to do to make a thriving ecosystem for entrepreneurs in India? In a way, you have answered that. So, but I'll still ask anything you want to add or elaborate. Largely, thinking of where we are sitting right now. So you mentioned, industry-wide incubators, or thinking about the triple helix model that industry, academy, and government have to work together. Somehow, and I'm asking this specifically for India now, somehow in India, STEM research does really well. So if your startup is into STEM, which is, technology, engineering, and medicine, then you can go ahead. But if you are to develop an app, you are developing a consumer-facing services model, I find that the ecosystem lacks over there. So anything you would want to add, that what would you do to, or what is in your wish list that in India we need to build a culture of entrepreneurship? These things are missing right now. We should fix those. What are those?
So I think one is, the lack of financial confidence. And I think that's something that if either as a government or as an organization or as an incubation center, wherever, if you tell someone like, listen, your idea is amazing, we can see value in it, don't worry about money for the next 2 years. I can see that thriving and growing and giving the return back far quicker. So I think the financial confidence is something that is extremely important, because the person has the idea, the person has seen it through. 80% of the work is done now. They're just scared because they don't think they have, because anybody who has an idea comes from various different financial backgrounds. Everybody is not economically viable to do it, but it could be the next unicorn. How do you know, right? So give that support is all I'm right now. Yeah, saying.
Fair enough. We can also keep in mind the VCs which we wanted to bring into the picture. Maybe not badmouth them, but fix them. Yeah, Ruby. Sure.
So I'll add in on this one. See, as a culture, there is a large portion of mindset we carry which impacts how we create businesses. We are a savings first mindset country. We are not risk first. इसीलिए हम जो भी स्टार्टअप बनाते हैं उसका पैसा हम यूएस लेने जाते हैं बिकॉज दे आर रिस्क फर्स्ट इकोनॉमी. As a general person, they will not do FDs. They will invest in stocks. इंडिया में क्या 4% ही तो इन्वेस्टर्स हैं जो एक्चुअली ओपन मार्केट्स में लगाते हैं पैसे. लाइक वहाँ पे तो कौन सेविंग्स में लगाता है, वो 2-3% का FD रिटर्न होता है. वी आर एवरीबडी लाइक 99% में सारा वो यही कर रहे हैं. FD सबके पास होती है, उसमें सेकेंड ऑप्शन होता है रिस्क मार्केट्स में लगाना. So if a large portion of mindset has to change where we can reward taking risks as entrepreneurs, it can come from government. If government says in every industry we will pick 100 new profitable models and we will fund them 1 crore rupees and we don't need the money back for next 5 years. This will create a wave of ideation at school level and college level that we want to submit an idea. 1 crore rupees is a lot of money to scale your idea quickly, and government as when you say I'll just take 1% of what 2% of your equity, and if not even just take debt for 5 years, and then the culture mindset will change. And if you get selected for that 100 every month, it's like 100 crores is nothing for the government. The way of thinking will change. I should take more risks because the reward is higher, and that wave of change that the government can land in mindset is bigger. As a country, we need then money being thrown. Like actually for startups who are registered in Startup India, they have 3 years of tax-free exemption up to a limit already. पता नहीं अपने को general knowledge का part नहीं है. Government has to do a lot of information job as well. Also, there is about 1 crore 70-80 lakhs of money as part of Startup India registered program. You get जिसमें 20 लाख रुपए आपको नहीं देने होते, 50 लाख रुपए कुछ 5 साल बाद ब्याज के साथ देने होते हैं. पैसे पड़े हैं लेकिन पता ही नहीं है उसको यूज़ कैसे करना है. And also, still, we will stay in the savings mindset, not in risk mindset. That is our first problem. That is why entrepreneurs are very few and they don't raise capital in India. That has to change as a flip.
Fair enough. It's a mindset shift. Jitin.
I'll answer this question a little differently. Okay. How many of you played any sport in school? And were you like professional or was it like, how many of you have played it professionally now? I'm filtering my question. Yeah. Now, one hand. I see one hand. What did you used to play? Somebody raised a hand from this side, yeah? Kabaddi. If I were to ask this question in the US, if you don't play any professional sport in school, somebody could walk up to you and ask you, are you okay? Is everything okay with you? Now, why do I bring that when you're asking about what fundamental changes can we bring about entrepreneurship? And this is also about risk. Historically, parents believe that if you spend time playing sport, you're wasting time. That's the mindset of India. That was the boomer mindset, at least for millennials like us. Okay. Now you're Gen Z, and there is a lot of talk about Gen Z, how they, like 75% of my company is Gen Z. Okay. So there's a lot of talk about how Gen Z approach life, because this generation possibly has all the ingredients to up their risk quotient because they are born into a certain degree of money. Boomers used to work very hard in general, and millennials knew that our parents were working very hard. So our risk ability was that much more tapered, a point that Ruby raised, right? That risk ability. Now, in this generation, I believe the point that you made, we can go to school. Because if you see the Valley, the Silicon Valley, a lot of new age entrepreneurs are launching company just after school. Dropout is sexy. Like they don't look at it as a taboo, right? Because if you know that you want to do something, and if you have a reasonable implementation roadmap, because idea, like there could be a billion ideas, effectively companies are built on implementation, okay? Because ideas keep coming, but if you don't implement them, they will die. At school level also, this can be encouraged, just like schools are encouraging sports at least now. At least now in like some reasonable schools, if you play good sport, you're like looked at with some degree of admiration. In our times, it used to be like, oh God, he just plays sports, must be a wreck. So I think that mindset change can come at school level, which can form a part of academia. So the curriculum should encourage that, let people dabble with small businesses. Like yesterday, I saw an Instagram reel, 8-year-old kids in Bangalore were selling paper bags, which they claimed were They built those bags without glue and scissors. And they were selling it for a subscription of rupees 10 per week if somebody needed. I was like, wow. So that kind of grassroots level change if we bring, because now the risk should go up theoretically. And if you incentivize people and not kill them on tax, they don't go to places like Dubai just to save tax, then you can be in India and build peacefully here. And then all the other points which have been made that the government can put in money, give you some grants, which is still there, but very difficult to avail, by the way. But then it's like, then it's a snowball effect that you can get. Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll add to that.
Yeah.
I think the very interesting thing is the right change is you guys. अगर अपन 2 साल की MBA में लाख रुपए कमाना सीख जाएं या फिर 1 लाख फॉलोअर्स तक सीख जाएं, प्रोडक्ट या डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन या whatever basically which has value, धंधा बनाना सीख पाए यहाँ पर, या तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन बनाना सीख जाएं कि इंस्टाग्राम पे 1 लाख फॉलोअर हैं, आज तो कुछ नहीं है, कल कुछ लॉन्च कर सकता हूँ. या फिर अगर हम बहुत सिंपल सी चीज़ है, लिंक्डइन पे इतने सारे लोग हैं, हम मैसेज करें कि वी विल हैंडल योर सोशल मीडिया और वी विल मेक यू रील्स व्हाटएवर इन स्मॉल अमाउंट ऑफ मनी. Then if people who are basically wanting to change as a need a change and they start कि यार मैं तो कोशिश करना चालू करूँगा irrespective कोई कुछ बोले, then that will basically trigger a movement that things will start moving. Action produces data. तो if action basically starts happening, it will produce data कि अच्छा ये नहीं ये चल रहा है, ये नहीं ये चल रहा है, ऐसा नहीं ऐसे ऐसे करेंगे. So that's the fundamental perspective. Government subsidy लाएगी नहीं कि भाई मैं टैक्स फ्री कर दूं, कल कभी नहीं होने वाला. हमको ही शुरुआत करनी पड़ेगी, शुरुआत करेंगे तो कुछ ना कुछ पहुंच जाएंगे बेसिकली कहीं ना कहीं. तो
इसमें एक ऐड कर देता हूँ. एनी ऑफ यू हर्ड अबाउट अ ब्रांड कॉल्ड निश हेयर? अरे देखो सही, द ओनर मिस गुलाटी, शी इज एन परफेक्ट एग्जाम्पल ऑफ दिस, of a pattern that I can tell you which will change your perspective if it is not already changed. It should be the impact of MBA that you are about to complete. See, Gujarat and Maharashtra, if my numbers are right, 50% of GDP of India. वहाँ पे, according, just expanding his example, if in US, if you are not an athlete as in parallel to your academia, it's odd. In Gujarat, if you ask the average kid before 12, धंधा क्या करना है, अगर वो धंधा नहीं करता है, उसको जॉब करना है, उसके लिए बहुत ऑड आंसर है वो. That the whole state thinks business first and entrepreneur first. All the other states are labor markets. 15 years, I was a labor. If you choose that, you are a labor in reality, right? You're choosing to be part of the corporate as a workforce. No ups or downs of that, plus and benefits of that. But if you believe you need to do that because to create business you need money, that's wrong. If you see her, if you already resonate with that brand, you just go and hear her interviews. She started to do the hair extensions business because she was part of an industry, being an actor and a model, which is related to a lot of glamour, where the glamour is resonated to, facial correctness, correct angles to camera and all the things they need to extend. So heroinों को बहुत extra बाल चाहिए होते हैं लगातार हेयर स्टाइल चेंज करने के लिए. If she launches a hair extension brand, हीरोइन तो 20 ही है ना, उसका धंधा स्केल कैसे होगा? So for that she realized hair extension everybody needs, even male members need of society. उसने पैसे रेज नहीं किए, उसने उसके पास जितने भी पैसे थे उसे हेयर एक्सटेंशंस बनाए, छोटी छोटी स्टॉल्स लगाई, हर एक आने वाले बंदे को बोला सर आप बस ट्राई कर लो, मैडम आप बस ट्राई कर लो. 100 कस्टमर्स ट्राई करते थे, प्रोस्पेक्ट्स, उसमें से 20 अगले दिन आके ले लेते. 50 करोड़ का बिजनेस है, अभी दुबई में शॉप खुली हुई है. एंड शी रेज्ड बिकॉज उनका प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट इतना सही टेस्ट हो गया था पहले. एंड यू जस्ट नीड 100 सैम्पल्स और मिनिमम ऑर्डर्स आजकल मार्केट में यू कैन गेट 100 ऑर्डर्स फ्रॉम द वेंडर एंड देन यू क्रिएट योर प्रोडक्ट, टेस्टेड कॉन्स्टेंटली इन योर स्पेयर टाइम. 10,000 रुपये भी बहुत है इन योर फर्स्ट प्रोडक्ट. सो इट्स अ चॉइस दैट यू विल मेक इफ़ यू कैन हैव योर प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट. आज तो MVP टेक जो है वो यू कैन गेट अ फायरबेस स्टूडियो, एक नया ऐप, और उसका MVP बहुत फास्ट बन जाता है, इवन बेटर. सो the mindset you have to choose, you want to go to workforce, not create a business, and you want to go to business, neither of them need money. Only thing is the risk meter that you will have. ये मुझे करना है या ये करना है. ज़्यादातर केसेस we will go to workforce because पैसे predictably आते हैं. उसमें ये होगा कि you need to challenge yourself, but I would suggest take a middle path जो मैंने चूज़ किया. मुझे ये भी करना है और ये भी करना है. But वो I'm telling you, it's much harder to do. But again, exciting, and most people find a good balance there.
Perfect. I think we got really good answers, and I think what Satyaprim said, and this is, by the way, a couple of IMI alums also mentioned. One of them, back in 2005, he paid half of his MBA fees during college. He did something and he started earning, and now he's a good entrepreneur. So I think that's something which you can make a note of. That's a very good practical advice. Chalo. So I think we have just about enough time to take 2 incisive rapid fire like questions. So raise your hand, you'll get the mic. So okay, we can start here.
Good evening, everyone.
Name and who is it addressed to?
Yes, please. So first of all, thank you so much for this insightful discussion. I think we have touched upon very great points and we have so much learning to take home today. My name is Sagun. My question is addressed to everybody. My question is, what do you think is the right time for MBA graduates to make the switch from traditional corporate jobs to entrepreneurship? And what toolkit one must possess or prepare for before making that switch? And what pushed each one of you to take that leap of faith in your own journey?
Second, there are 3 questions.
So sorry about that.
No worries. Which one is your favorite? What time is the right time for?
Now, right now.
Do you mean by the time you graduate in number of years, 0 years, 1 year after MBA, 2 years? That's the question, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's address that. Yeah. Who wants to? Yeah.
I would say in this day and age of AI, do it now. On the sides, you have nothing to lose. You're in which year? First year, second year? First year, you have nothing to lose. Build a business on the side, something that somebody is willing to pay you whatever you want to charge. I mean, I know that you will learn a lot of like 4 P's of marketing, this, that, blah, blah. If you have one thing to sell, you will learn a lot, even to sell to your, hostel mate. Is this like a day scholars or hostels, yeah? Both. Trust me, if your product is shitty, your 20 good friends also will not pay you for it. They will take it, they'll not pay you for it. So if you can run this experiment that can I do something which my friends will want to pay, all that friend filter will happen and they will say, nahi, acha hai, but kisi aur ko de. So, try and do that and try and build that learning. Do not focus on the quantum, just focus on, can you do this? Because founders are mad, especially if you want to do something like which has to scale. If you want to build a small boutique business, it's okay. Sometimes it's not easy, but it's okay. If you want to build something for which you have to be a little crazy, okay? So you will understand the crazy quotient that you have. Because again, I tell you, it's very nice, it's very romantic to be a founder, but the mortality rate of startups is more than 90%. Yeah? So build those skills, do it now, because you've got nothing to lose.
Anyone wants to add? Or we can ask her the second question. What was the second question?
The second question was, what toolkit one must possess before making the shift?
I think answered
That
by
was an
Jitin.
answer.
Yeah. Resilience, craziness, crazy quotient rather. Yeah.
And the final question was, what pushed each one of you to take the leap of faith into the entrepreneurial journey?
Okay, that we can take. Yeah. I think Smita or Shobha, we can start with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I turned an entrepreneur, I had nothing to lose. And at 27, you're not calculating risks or anything, right? And you had fun along the way. So the leap of faith was that, well, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, I'll try something else. And I didn't go to a business school. I was a science student. I really didn't do anything. But the fact of the matter that also, Indian families, you're married, you have kids, you have 2 little kids, you wanted to be close to them. So you wanted to find something that will, be, you can be around the kids also, you can do what you wanted also, take some money, get some money on your own. So that was my, that was my inspiration. But it changes from people to people, right? But the only thing I will tell you when you said what's your toolkit, I learned the basics of that business I entered into. Whatever courses were available those days, these were days before internet. So asked people, went and sat in a few offices, asked people I learned the operations part of travel business. A lot of my competitors who came in, and they're about 120 now, they don't know how to operate a tour. I know that. I know how a tour operates. I know what happens if the document that a traveler, the hotelier, and the operator, if the documents don't match, what can happen to the tour. So that became a very important thing for me.
I kind of agree to what Jatin said also, but the thing is that I think while you're studying, this becomes like a side hustle, and it also becomes like a brilliant case study, you know, and you guys work on a lot of case studies, which I know for a fact. Again, like her, I have, well, MBA was not in any of my distant learning, and nor did I want to. Because again, I thought, you know, learning on the job was a far better education, as I've said before. I think the reason or the thing to get into it was purely because I had a passion for it. I wanted to do it. And like she said, the thing is, like, the reason you feel that there is no risk is because all of you have been educated to a certain degree, right? If it doesn't work out, you have the backup and knowing that, you know what, I can go back to a job. Unless your business is something that is your be-all, end-all, sure, then make a proper decision. It's not like that for everybody, but it is also like that for some people, where this is all that they have as an income to come in, right? So for that matter, I think it is just a matter of where you're standing in life and what you want to do. And I think that's, it can be an emotional reason, it could be a psychological reason, it could be a financial reason. So just be sure about that. That's it.
So when I was in my MBA school, MICA 2012, मैंने काफ़ी मैथ्स किया कि यार पहले ना मुझे ना मीडिया का रेवेन्यू सीखना है, तो मैंने सेल्स की जॉब की 2 साल नेटवर्क 18 में. देन मैंने लगा कि ई कॉमर्स सीखना पड़ेगा मुझे सामान बेचने के लिए, तो मैंने स्नैपडील में काम किया. 5 साल लग गए, फिर 30 साल का हो गया. फिर लगा कि अब तो कर लेना ही चाहिए बॉस, नहीं तो घर वाले ना शादी करवा देंगे. तो फिर मैंने कहा कि अब तो शुरू कर लेते हैं. तो उसके बाद स्टार्ट किया. पर मुझे बाद में समझ में आया कि वो जो 5 साल मैंने बहुत गणित लगाई पेपर पे, उसके पहले शुरू कर लिया होता तो वो 5 साल ना वेस्ट नहीं होते, वो लर्न हो जाते. क्योंकि जब मैं 30 साल का होकर जब मैं पिच कर रहा था, तो मेरे संग कोई और भी पिच कर रहा था, वो 25 साल का ही था. तो उसने 5 साल बचा लिए अपनी ज़िंदगी के. तो मुझे लगता है कि बहुत सिंपल सा आंसर है. जैसे मैंने आपका आंसर सुनते ही ये बोला था कि इवन इफ़ यू फेल इट्स ओके, बिग डील, बट दैट विल टीच यू रेजिलियंस एंड लर्निंग. क्योंकि क्या है कि जो बाहर इस रूम से बाहर जाते देर आर बिगर शार्क्स, जो जिनको फेल होने में डर लगता नहीं है. 2-3 बार धक्के खा के गिरेगा आदमी तो सीखेगा बेसिकली कि यार हाँ इट्स ओके, इट्स फाइन. तो वो सीखने में मेरे 30 से 35 हो जाती है. तो बहुत लेट हो जाता है कि हमको लगता है कि पहले अपन मार्केटिंग सीखेंगे, डिजिटल मार्केटिंग का कोर्स कर लेता हूँ. कोर्स कुछ नहीं है, डिजिटल मार्केटिंग का कोर्स करना, डिजिटल मार्केटिंग करो, सामान लो और बेचो, वो कोर्स अपने आप बेस्ट सीख जाएगा. तो वही है कि अगर वो करना है तो एजुकेशन करते करते, अब तो चैट जीपीटी पे एक सवाल पूछ लो उसका आंसर मिल जाता है. तो अगर करना है तो उसको जल्दी से जल्दी कर लेना चाहिए. क्योंकि क्या है कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एंड जितिन विल नो दिस फैक्ट, कि एनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ग्रोथ इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन नंबर ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट्स डिवाइडेड बाय टाइम. कि हम प्रोडक्ट के अंदर, मार्केटिंग के अंदर कितने एक्सपेरिमेंट्स कर सकते हैं इन द लेसर टाइम. एंड आई हैव सीन अ कंपनी, आई एम नॉट नेमिंग इट, इट्स 1200 crore रुपी, वेरी स्मॉल. पहले बहुत नॉर्मली लोगों से चालू हुआ, बट वो जो रेट ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट्स करते हैं मार्केटिंग के अंदर, प्रोडक्ट के अंदर, हम लोग ओवर प्लान करते थे. फिर मैंने लगा कि यार हमको रेट ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट्स बढ़ाने पड़ेंगे. तो फेलियर रेट बढ़ाएंगे तो ही हमें गोल्डन बॉल पता पड़ेगी कि यार ये काम कर रहा है. तो वो नंबर ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट्स इन योर लाइफ टाइम टिल यू आर अबाउट टू गेट मैरिड और अबाउट टू हैव अ बेबी इज़ लिमिटेड. ये समय बहुत लिमिटेड है. तो समय को ज़्यादा एक्सपेरिमेंट्स करने के लिए ज़्यादा तेज़ी से एक्सपेरिमेंट्स प्लान करते जाओ, फेल हो सीखते जाओ इटरेटिव मोड के अंदर, तो ही बेस्ट चीज़ है बेसिकली. अदरवाइज आफ्टर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम योर एबिलिटी टू टेक रिस्क विल डिक्रीज एज यू गेट मोर मेच्योर. अभी तो चलो फेल हुए तो कुछ फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता है लाइफ के अंदर. तो अभी जितना अपन रेट ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट्स को इंक्रीज़ कर सकते हैं, खाखरा बेचना है, फाफरा बेचना है, व्हाटएवर, बेसिकली वो रेट ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट्स को इंक्रीज करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. बिकॉज एवरी एक्सपेरिमेंट विल टीच यू सेल्स, मार्केटिंग, वट एवर वी रीड इन दोज बिजनेस बुक्स बेसिकली.
Ruby.
I'll give you more of personal example palatable. एक स्किल टूल किट के लिए जरूरी है, वो है सेल्स. If you want to put some time to learn it from a corporate process point of view, 2 साल सेल्स के लिए तैयारी करो कि सेल्स ही करनी है in a domain that you already mentally are ready to go in, and in parallel you should have your startup idea or innovation idea already incubating. तो उसका प्लान, उसकी स्ट्रक्चर, उसका प्रोडक्ट, उसका MVP 6-7 महीने में आपने रेडी कर लिया है, आप जॉब कर रहे हो सेल्स की. The point of doing sales is it's a skill that you can acquire, but if you put a horizon limit to it, 2 साल में मुझे इस कंपनी के सारे प्रोसेसेस सीखने हैं, you will realize most of the company leaders, MD CEOs are sales people. They grow fastest and they understand top down better than other departments, most cases. So if you start from that domain as a first sales skill toolkit and you put a time lock within 2 years, in parallel my incubation would have reached a stage, I'll jump from this to this with the skill that I've just as acquired to see companies top down. You will bring in a greater skill set which will reduce your fail rate. If you don't do that, you start from this full sprint, you will make so many mistakes which will eventually just increase your fatality chances. If you do that in parallel, this is a decent balance to make you realize this is not forever job. This is 2 years. My primary skill required is sales, which makes you learn top down how a organization works. What's a sales rigor? What's a finance process related to sales, a marketing impact on sales, and then all the functions. The moment you switch to your thing, you know what you need to set up in what sequence so that you don't waste money. And there is a beauty in understanding sales is small is smooth, smooth is fast. Which means that if you have smaller teams, the good salespeople, they bringing the best deals and scaled business. Which means if you think about building business early, you probably will want to do this smaller teams. But the beauty of this technology world is that you can have a Telegram kind of a company with 30 engineers and be a $30 billion company. So now you can actually make small team companies who are global and $1 billion companies. So if you learn the process of sales and be prepared and incubate your thing in parallel, maybe at a juncture of 2 years, you will have everything right in your place at the youngest years possible to just ignite it right.
Makes so much sense, and I feel it coming from people who have done what they are saying. They have walked the talk, so I think it carries a lot of weight, and you should pay heed to their words. If it were up to me, we could have taken one more question, but I am also looking at time, and I'm informed and directed that let's wind up. So I myself have to travel, cross into another state. So I think let me now say my final words. So there are so many ways I can, summarize, whatever we discussed. They were value driven, they were practical advisors. But I think I'll take what each of them said in a way that, Jitin said that impact equals profit into purpose. I think that's worthy of being printed and put into our classrooms. That, profit is a subset of impact. So again, reiterating what he said, profit without purpose will be mindless. So, we need to be mindful of all our actions, and hence our business also needs to be. Satyaprem's advice of you starting something and achieve a measurable, impact, have, sell either some products, X number of products, or have X number of followers. Extremely useful, I think, because you people, are a generation where you have the resources and the wherewithal. So more than others who are outside the B school. So you have the knowledge, you have the resources, maybe put into use. And then what Ruby, Smita, and Shobha said, passion. Passion will drive, you will never be afraid of facing the conflict between, purpose and profits. So let me thank you, profusely. I can't thank you enough for all your, pearls of wisdom coming from all of you. It was a really insightful discussion. I also I myself am feeling very reinvigorated, If I were not a faculty here, I would probably go out there and do something, start selling something. So thanks a lot, each one of you. Jitin, Rubir, Satyaprem, Shobha, Smita. Thanks on their behalf. This is something which we need to bring more of, beyond the classroom perspectives. So let me just close by, again, I can't resist, another couplet which I recently read. Which kind of, summarizes pretty neatly what we have discussed over here, the flight of an entrepreneur. So Akbar Allhabadi is a शायर who said, मंजिलें उन्हें मिलती हैं जिनके ख्वाब में जान होती है. मंजिलें उन्हें मिलती हैं जिनके ख्वाब में जान होती है. पंख से कुछ नहीं होता, हौसले से उड़ान होती है. So with that, over to you, Ritika and Kawan. Thank you.
What an insightful session. On behalf of everyone present here, I express my sincere gratitude to our guest speakers, Mr. Jitin Bhasin, Mr. Rubir Singh, Mr. Satyaprem Upadhyay, Ms. Smita Singhal, and Ms. Shobha Rudra for taking the time to share their thought-provoking insights and journeys with all of us. Post this session, we feel relatively more aware and equipped to understand how purpose-driven leadership is guiding the modern boardroom. On behalf of IMI Delhi, let's give a final, massive round of appreciation to all our guest speakers for sharing their time, insights, and inspiration.
We would now like to extend our sincere thanks to Professor Devashish Mathur for moderating the session with such depth and clarity and for making the summit both impactful and engaging. Thank you, Professor Mathur, for guiding this rich dialogue. We request Professor Mathur to kindly join us on stage for the presentation of the token of appreciation. We begin by honoring the vision behind Savin, Mr. Jitin Bhasin. Next, please join in honoring Mr. Rubir Singh for driving global digital innovation at Tatwik. Next, for empowering the creator economy, we honor Mr. Satyaprem Upadhyay of Najoto. Next, honoring the pioneer of conscious travel, Ms. Shobha Rudra of Rare India. Finally, we honor Ms. Smita Singhal for demonstrating scalable, sustainable solution at Absolute Water. We would now like to invite Shivam Vishisht, Secretary of Entrepreneurship Club, to give a token of appreciation to Professor Devashish Mathur. Further, we would like to invite Aarti Lohar, Senior Member of Entrepreneurship Club, to hand over a small token of respect from Plum, our sponsor, to appreciate the wonderful women we have with us today.
Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we conclude the Entrepreneurship Summit 2025. We are certain that the session has been profoundly enlightening for each one of us, leaving us with a clear blueprint for relevance, resilience, and growth in the new business paradigm.
We would like to take this opportunity to commend all the guests, participants, speakers, professors, students, and the staff of IMI for making the session an unparalleled success.
We extend Our heartfelt gratitude to all our esteemed sponsors for their invaluable support in making Conventus 2025, the annual management conclave of IMI Delhi, a grand success. A special thanks to our title sponsor, Bank of Baroda, for partnership has been instrumental in bringing this event to life. We are equally thankful to our co-sponsor RPSG and our financial summit sponsor Indian Bank for their continued encouragement. Our appreciation also goes to ICICI Bank banking partner, LIC insurance partner, HFCL telecom solutions partner, and STEM Executive Search Private Limited sustainability partner for their support in diverse domains. We sincerely thank Key Properties Real Estate Partner, Phoenix Global Learning Partner, Royal Enfield Exploration Partner, Vanessa Care Fragrance Partner, Plum Love and Body, Bath and Body Care Partner, Go Grab Convenience Partner, White Heaven Entertainment Partner, and Fever FM Media Partner for enriching the experience of Conventus 2025. Your collaboration and trust continues to inspire us to make every edition of Conventus bigger, bolder, and better.
With that, we conclude the Entrepreneurship Summit 2025. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate your presence and participation. Lastly, we would request our esteemed panelist, moderator, and the Entrepreneurship Club team members to come forward for a group photograph.